What's up, weirdo? Shadetree Surgeon here, and today we're gonna take a break from pissing off Harley Davidson owners and piss off some Honda owners instead. Honestly, Honda is just a motorcycle company that I don't think of super often, mostly because I very undeservedly just think of them like the pocket protectors of the motorcycle world. When Honda tries to be sexy and tough, it's kind of like a tax lawyer wearing lingerie. Now, I'm not saying that Honda makes bad motorcycles. They very obviously make amazing motorcycles. Amazing, sensible bikes for very sensible people. Motorcycles for men named Bob. Bob lives in Indiana and takes his Michelob Ultra over ice. The salt and pepper wings at Texas Roadhouse are just a little too spicy for Bob, and he's angling for a promotion into middle management at Assurant Risk Management Solutions. Bob rides a Honda, and he picked his motorcycle out the same way that he picks out his porn. By assembling a highly detailed flow chart taking into account such factors as gas mileage, resale value, and most efficient time to climax. Of course, as always, Shadetree Surgeon's being a little hypocritical here because I also own a Honda, that mystical highway shoggoth, the Raspberry Buffet, my 1987 Goldwing. I love my Goldwing, but it's a square's love. I love it like I love an electric can opener or a particularly favored pair of underwear. Now, let me tell you, Honda's definitely thrown a few curveballs over the years. In a fit of nerd rage, they've released bikes like the V65 Sabre and the CBX, but usually they stay in their lane with stuff like the original Rebel 250. The original Honda Rebel spent most of its life as a 16 horsepower, air-cooled 250cc, 3/4 size cruiser that's about as exciting as plain yogurt. Using the same engine that was in the Super Dream in the 70s, Honda made the Rebel unchanged from around 1985 to 2016. After 30 plus years of this same motorcycle being completely unchanged, they finally upgraded it in 2017 with a water-cooled 300cc and 500cc version. A moment of silence, please, for the original Honda Rebel 250. Even though it was an incredibly plain milquetoast bike, it deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award for bringing more people into the sport of motorcycling than any other machine in recent history. Fast forward to now, and Honda's had another fit of nerd rage and decided to stick the engine from the Africa Twin into a cruiser frame, giving us the Honda Rebel 1100. I'll be honest with you guys, I did not see this one coming, and I like it when I don't see something coming. Expanding their cruiser line with the Rebel branding, sure, I could have called that one, but the engine choice, sticking that parallel twin 1100 into a cruiser frame, that's just like a classic Honda rope-a-dope move, and it's got everybody in the motorcycle world talking. Also classic Honda is the parts list. Big radial front brakes, great suspension, a bunch of rider modes that no one will use. Seriously, who out there actually uses rider modes? Just stick it in the one that makes the most power and forget about it. You want to impress me? Give me one button that turns off the ABS, the traction control, and all that other nanny crap. That's something I'd actually use. And even though I don't really care about rider modes, one interesting thing I read is that the Honda Rebel comes with 3 different levels of wheelie control. I like the idea of extra modes for wheelie control, not because I care about riding modes, I don't, but the fact that they included it makes me think this thing's gonna be rowdy. If a motorcycle pulls enough accidental wheelies to need this feature, then it's probably gonna be a motorcycle I like. Bikes that have a dangerous reputation, they always do well. It really reminds me of the FZ09 and the FZ07 when they first came out. They instantly garnered reputations as wheelie machines, so much so that Yamaha actually offered an ECU reflash to calm down first-year FZ09s. Like it or not, a hooligan rep moves units. After all, we don't ride motorcycles because they're safe. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess / hope that Honda engineered in a generous helping of danger into the new Rebel. Speaking of a hooligan rep, radial front brakes, piggyback rear shocks, inverted front end, these are all standard equipment by the book upgrades for a hooligan Sportster or Dyna build. And I don't think they're on this bike by accident. Another aspect of this bike that's definitely not on accident is the 270-degree crank. Torque gains aside, this is a good thing because it's going to make the bike sound amazing. Hate it all you want, but that lumpy, uneven, Harley-esque sound is what most people want to hear coming out of a cruiser. Even more signs pointing to the engine being the star of the show is different cam profiles for each cylinder, with one being more for top end and one producing more power down low. And while trick engine stuff like this is really cool on paper, honestly, you start to lose me a little bit with that stuff because basically it means the engine is done. Just like so many other Japanese cruisers, you put exhaust on it, you put an intake on it, you flash the ECU, and that's where the engine modifications stop. One area where Harley-Davidson almost always wins is the ability to go as wild as you want with the engine. Cams, heads, pistons, turbos, whole crate motors. How much horsepower your Harley-Davidson makes is only limited by how deep your pockets are. Which brings us to, by far, the coolest, most interesting part of the Rebel 1100, the fact that it's coming in under $10,000. In this day and age, to have a bike that makes this much horsepower and have all these features and still have it come in at about $9,300 for the base model is nothing short of unbelievable. Like, I literally don't even believe it. Now, let's get to the ugly part, which is the entire rest of the motorcycle. Let's not split hairs here. This bike's about as attractive as the wrong end of a dog. It's always a bad sign when your brand new motorcycle already looks like a Craigslist custom. I get it, that whole blacked out thing is supposed to look just like gritty and urban, but all it looks like to me is that some 19-year-old kid rattle canned the whole thing flat black with some grill paint. Honda's certainly no stranger to selling bikes that look like they've already been customized, like the Honda Fury, but the Honda Rebel just looks like it's been customized badly. Honda's own stock photos on their website include several of this motorcycle next to a dumpster, and I think it's quite fitting. Of course, this is just my opinion, and you shouldn't let one asshole's opinion on the internet stop you from liking something. Anybody who's seen my personal motorcycles will know that my taste is questionable at best. Regardless of personal taste, one of the big problems with a motorcycle already looking custom off the showroom floor is it doesn't leave you a lot of room to make the motorcycle your own. When the Rebel 300 and 500 first came out, some of you guys will remember that Honda gave a few of them to different independent guys to customize, to kind of foster the idea that you could make this bike your own, but none of them ended up looking that much different from each other. Although I will say I was a really big fan of that punky BMX neon colored one with the handlebar pad. I thought that one was pretty cool. There's been a few different independent guys since then who've really gone all out on the Honda Rebel, but it just takes a lot of work. If you really want to make your Rebel stand out, you better know how to weld and you better know how to use a lathe, because you're going to be making and machining your own parts or adapters to make other parts fit. If you want to customize a Honda Rebel, it ain't gonna come easy. Arguably, that makes customizing a Honda Rebel way more akin to the chopper guys of the 60s and 70s who are all making their own parts and kind of taking shots in the dark. In the year 2020, customizing a Harley-Davidson is easy, because somebody else already did all the hard work of engineering and producing all these aftermarket parts, and all you really gotta do is bolt them on. If you're gonna customize a Honda Rebel, you gotta want it. It remains to be seen if the Honda Rebel 1100 will inspire that level of dedication from people, but Here's to hoping. I really like the direction that Honda's going with this engine platform, and I hope we see it in other places too. It's already in the Africa Twin. I'd love to see it in a more stripped down Scrambler, something that just doesn't have all the plastic on it that the Africa Twin has, something more like the Triumph Scrambler 1200. I think that'd be a really cool move. And I'm sure a lot of people are hoping for a modern classic look with this engine, more like the XSR 700 900 that Yamaha did. I think that the Rebel 1100 is a great move. I hope it succeeds. I hope it brings just as many people into the world of motorcycles as the original Honda Rebel did. Because like I always say, every ass on a motorcycle seat is one more of us and one less of them. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe, and let me know what you think about the Honda Rebel 1100 in the comment section down below. And till next time, y'all, keep it weird.